Pardon me, it's 19. I'm meteorologist Daniel Bonds. Here's the latest on Tropical Storm Gabrielle. This is the 11 a.m. update from the National Hurricane Center. The storm currently does have winds of 50 miles per hour, gusts up to 65. It's moving towards the northwest at about 12 miles per hour. Currently 915 miles southeast of Bermuda at this point. Tropical satellite loop shows the system trying to become a little bit better developed. This is an enhanced tropical satellite image of the storm, and here is the latest forecast path from the Hurricane Center. Again, has winds of 50 miles per hour, gust up to 65, moving towards the northwest at 10 miles per hour. Most of the activity is kind of east of the center of circulation at this point, so not a very well-defined storm, but it is forecast to gain a little bit of strength as we head into the weekend. So here is the latest forecast path for Gabrielle. Forecast to probably become a hurricane second half of the weekend. A weak hurricane at that point, may be gaining a little bit of strength, becoming a Category 2 storm by early Monday, hanging on to Category 2 status Tuesday, and then it moves into the cooler waters of the North Atlantic, starts to weaken just a touch. So possibly our second hurricane of the 2025 season. So far we've only had one hurricane, and Gabrielle is our seventh named storm. Here's the actual path of the storm, and here are the forecast paths, some of the previous forecast paths, and we also have the current forecast track. This is the red line right through here. So at this point it does stay away from the continental United States, but if you look very closely you can kind of see that dot right there. That would be Bermuda, so the storm does get a little bit closer to Bermuda. Here are the spaghetti models for Tropical Storm Gabrielle. This is a few of the main ones as we do go through the weekend and head into the beginning of the next work week. Pretty good consensus here, keeping this away from the United States. It turns a little bit more towards the north and eventually towards the northeast. This would be September 24th, so that would be Wednesday at that point. If you like all the spaghetti models, we'll show them all to you here. This is why they call them spaghetti models. It looks like a big plate of spaghetti sitting on top of the Atlantic. Pretty good consensus, and you just really have to ignore that one outlier that kind of pushes it towards the southeast. But all indications are this does stay away from the United States as it does turn more towards the north and eventually towards the north and east. As far as those odds of hurricane force winds, if and or when it does become a hurricane, this is hurricane force wind odds do go up a little bit, especially as we go into Sunday and Monday. Tropical storm force wind opportunities a lot bigger, and so that will be the area we'll have to kind of watch for Bermuda. You'll see Bermuda at least has the chance for some tropical storm force winds. The main thing for Bermuda is going to be dangerous rip currents and looks like some higher than normal surf. So that's going to be the big thing for Bermuda. We're also watching this area in the Atlantic. This is just now coming off the West African coast. Hurricane Center gives it a small chance, about a 20% chance of further development over the next 7 days. So it's been relatively quiet, but now the activity is starting to increase just a touch. At this point, Gabrielle, not really much of a concern for us here in the United States. We'll have to watch this. That's way over in the eastern Atlantic at this point. It's worth a mention, but not something we necessarily have to be concerned with. But as we do go through the month of September, the tropical frequency, the highest tropical frequencies in this red area, exactly where Gabrielle's moving through and where that other system appears to be developing as well. There are a few more tropical waves in the Atlantic. We do have one over towards the Dominican Republic and Hispaniola. Also have another one, kind of see it there, and the other one that's just now coming off the West African coast, and there is Tropical Storm Gabrielle. Also have some Saharan dust kind of wrapping around Gabrielle and some more Saharan dust out towards the east, and a lot of dust. It's really kept at least the tropics, relatively quiet so far this season. So we've had 7 named storms, 1 hurricane so far. Aaron was a major hurricane. You can see the major hurricane there. That was Aaron several weeks ago. That's been the strongest storm. But historically, August 20th through October 10th, that is the heart of hurricane season. About 2/3 of all activity does occur in that time frame, and we are currently in that time frame. Last week was the average peak of hurricane season, September 10th. On average, you would expect the activity to decrease, but we'll probably have a little bit more activity before it's all said and done. On average, at this point in the season, we would expect 9 named storms. So far, we've had 7. At this point in the season, we would typically expect 4 hurricanes, and so far we've only had 1. And we've only had 1 major hurricane, and that was Aaron several weeks ago. Typically, on September 19th, at this point in hurricane season, we would expect at least 2 major hurricanes. So we're a little bit behind as far as the activity is concerned, but we're going to continue to track the tropics. We're going to be watching what's left out there of Gabrielle as it continues to move generally towards the west-northwest and then eventually towards the north and east. So we'll bring you more updates on air and online as needed. Have a great day.
The news doesn't end here. Download WLTX Plus for free on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.